Okay, guys, today is Friday, and what we're going to talk about today is how we can better accomplish all of our dreams, our goals, our weekly schedule, all of that kind of stuff. Because, sometimes it can be really hard to try to reach those all by ourselves. And so, what we've been learning with, creating healthy boundaries and asking for help and all that type of stuff is I want you to start writing down who you can actually ask for help. So if you and your partner want to ride together, you're obviously, if your kids are too small to come along, you need to have a babysitter. So what are the options to you? What do you have available to you for babysitters? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it just, the teenage girl down the road that's really good at babysitting? And just start writing down everyone that you have around you that you can actually ask for help, because sometimes I think we get stuck in our own head and we feel, just going back to feeling guilty for asking for help, especially if we're asking family and friends, because then we feel like we should be paying them and then they don't accept money. And then, and then it's just that whole cycle. But now that we're learning how to actually have these healthy boundaries, asking things for ourselves, knowing it's for our own mental and emotional and physical health, it's going to start becoming easy and easier to actually ask for the help that we need to accomplish some of our dreams, especially in our week to week process. So write down the names of who you can actually ask, and take note of how you feel when you write that name down. So if you want to, let's say you live close to your mom or your parents and you write down, I can ask my mom and dad for help. How do you feel when you actually write that down? Are you feeling, oh yeah, this will be fine, it'll be great, blah blah blah, they always want more time with the kids anyway? Or do you feel like, oh my gosh, they're already busy and I feel really bad asking them? And maybe, just really take note of those emotions that you're feeling as you write those names down, and just do a little jot a note beside it to come back and assess that later. But it's really important that while it's fresh in your memory, when you're writing these names down, to just jot down what you feel in that moment. And then you can come back and kind of maybe think, okay, well, why do I feel that? Is this me projecting my feelings onto asking them for help? Or is there actually, like a memory or something that's actually coming up that's creating these emotions for you? Like, did you ask them for help once and they turned you down? Did you ask them for help once and then you kind of felt like they guilt tripped you after? Something like that. And really try to understand it, because unfortunately in our society so much gets left unsaid. And especially when you're asking for friends and family for help, they can feel like they don't have the right to say no. And then it just turns into this big icky kind of mess, and then no one's asking for help, but no one's really kind of talking about why they're not asking for help. And so take those, just to take those few moments and really write it down. And we're going to get into more on what you can do with that a little later. But it's just really important to kind of just make sure that you write that down in the moment. I'm just going to check my notes here and see what else I had that I want to talk about today. Um, yeah. So if you do plan on asking your family, because of course it's a sitter, it's simple. Are you free on such and such a day? Yes or no? And the sitter can say yes or no. But if you do want to ask family for help, and if you feel really good and safe to ask them for help, but maybe you're nervous about asking them, is just to start practicing by writing it down. It sounds really silly, but when you start writing stuff down and saying it out loud by yourself in the shower, before you go to bed, whatever, your body's going to get used to asking for help, because for some of us it'll be very foreign to be like, hey mom, I really want to ride, and it's kind of important to me to ride because I feel like I'm just like a better mom, I'm happier. It's just, like, this is my self-care and it's really important to me, and I trust you with my kids, and I would really love it if they got to see you some more too, so I feel like this is the best of both worlds. What do you think? Would you like to come over on such and such a day and watch my kids for me so I can go ride? Because then you're actually getting to the heart of it. You're telling them why you want them to come over. You're expressing gratitude, but then they feel like they actually understand you a little bit more, because maybe they feel like they're just being used. But when you explain to them why you want that time with the horse, then they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, for sure. Like, what friend or family doesn't want to help, and you actually tell them, this is for my like mental and emotional health, like legit. Like, I'm just not going to go out, you know bowling all by myself just because I'm sick and tired of my kids or whatever. Not to say that that's not necessary sometimes too, but you know what I mean. That when they actually understand how important it is to you, but they're not going to understand if you don't actually tell them. So if it does feel a little awkward to you, if you feel a little nervous about it, write it down, practice saying it a few times, and then give it a go. So what I want you to share with a little bit today, with the group in the comments of this thread, is, do you feel like you have a good support system? You know, do you feel like you've got all these people that you can ask for help? Even maybe if you haven't been asking them, that's okay, but do you feel like you have access to these people? If you don't feel like you have access to anybody, share with us. You know, like, it's okay to feel like you're alone. It's okay to feel like you don't have the support. You know, it's not everybody has family around them. And not everybody who does have family around them actually have really nice, healthy relationships where they actually can ask for help. And so for some of us, we actually just need to verbally say that I feel really alone. You know, I feel like I can't ask for help, you know, except for, you know, the teenage girl down the street, but she's really busy with volleyball. So I'm really limited on when I can get her out. And that's fine, you know, like, that's part of your life, and admitting it and getting it out in the open can really help you feel better. And then when you start using more and more of the skills that we went on earlier this week, you know, like your scheduling, talking with your partner, and working together, that they're going to be able to understand that they kind of might need to help you in certain areas so you can have that time. Because, you know, we all know how much of better of a wife and how much of a better of a mother and just a person in general you are when you actually get that time. And when they understand that too, they'll be willing to help you more as well. Okay. So share with the group, what we just, you know, do you have a support system or don't you? And how do you feel about it? And don't forget to be saying your affirmation still 3 times a day in your power pose. And again, I just want to note, if your affirmation starts feeling like, it's not moving you so much, it's okay during this journey to switch it up to something new. So if you were really struggling with something, you've been saying your affirmation now for, you know, a few days, and you're feeling really, really good about it, but it's not really pulling at your heartstrings much, adjust it, change it. Just make sure you go back, you see the rules of all that's required to make a good, healthy, a meaningful affirmation, and just make a new one. And that's fine. That's because that's what happens when we grow. Okay. You don't necessarily need the same affirmation for 6 months. It all depends on you and what you're working on. All right. So we will catch you on the next one.